Thank you, everyone, for joining us for our Thursday, May 19th Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. We'll call the meeting to order. Is there anyone here that would like to give citizen input on anything that's not already on the agenda? Nope. Okay. We have the draft minutes from March 24th. Are there any changes?
Nope.
Mo?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, Vice Mayor and Commissioner Franny, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And we'll go to the Community Redevelopment Agency Advisory Committee Chair report. Greg.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commission and
Welcome.
City Manager. City Clerk, how is everybody today?
Very good.
CRA Advisory, good committee. I mean, always active, always doing good work in their advice to us. We did have, and I know that this is spelled wrong, but it's Frank Shivas came to us to show us what is taking place back where the Rock House is behind us. And
What is taking place? Because we haven't seen it.
it is, the concept is, you know, the house is in really poor condition. You know, I know the family that sold that, and termites have really just desecrated that structure. And the idea is to have a restaurant there. Frank Shivas, for those that don't know him, is part of the Baystar Group, which is, we know, Salt Rock, Rumba, Island Way, and, you know, that's a great brand. That if anything's going to go there, that would be, you know, and the committee agrees that, you know, it would be a great catalyst to the growth, you know, to the east. And they would take the rocks from the house and incorporate that into the structure, which we all really liked. I actually spoke with the daughter of the family that lived there, the Springers, and she has a lot of artifacts that she would be able to uncover and maybe utilize in the restaurant. So that was kind of a unanimous thumbs up for, we just saw a brief concept and sort of a layout of what they would like to do. Really nice. It would kind of bring another restaurant that we don't currently have, which is like steakhouse, seafood type atmosphere.
I was really hoping he was going to do the Causeway restaurant.
Yeah, don't know. I didn't mention that one. Just the
Yeah, but this was
steakhouse.
great.
And so,
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
I didn't say a
May I
word.
say something?
Just, it would be bigger, is what I'm saying.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
You
That's
know,
all.
what you said about the rocks, that was totally within, she came to the Historic Preservation Advisory Committee, and she spoke on the termite situation and how it was really, had degenerated. But we said, look, you know, when someone comes to us and shows us the engineering and says, here, this is what we have, and we said, could we ask you to whatever maybe goes there, could you keep some of the rock facade, you know, or keep some of the facade just as a reminder, because I know you know a lot of the families that live there also.
Yeah, he's going to include the rock. He's gonna,
And that's fabulous, and that's what I'm saying. She was wonderful, and she said, absolutely, we'll follow that.
yeah, he's been pretty good. He's also going to save the trees back there. There's going to be some outdoor seating in there. It's we hit him with the architecture.
Right.
The
And the
signage.
gentleman was also a shipbuilder. So when you look at the windows on the side, they're very unique, and he's very interested in trying to rehab and refurbish those and use those in the structure. So we really liked the idea, we liked the concept, and of course, you know, he would be a great partner in addition to downtown. So everybody was pretty much in favor of that. A lot of questions went around, and he was very gracious and you know, kind of being patient with us with all of our questions. You know, we had some liaison reports, you know, just from Pam Pravitz from the Chamber, just gave us a brief update. She included the week of June 11th to the 18th, the Chamber is undertaking the Pride celebration. So we have renamed that from, you know, former North Pinellas Pride to Dunedin Pride. So it's an inaugural event. It'll take place over that week, and we're very excited about that. Also, there was a We saw a little bit about talked about the Curlew water tower and that type. I was able to actually fly in a plane with Elizabeth Brinklow right by the water tower and take a picture of the turtles in the beginning. So that was really a lot of fun. And so that's really all we have. So things are good and looks like we're...
Landscape, you were talking about?
Landscaping was, we had a former landscape plan, and that kind of sat on the shelf for a while, and we, Bob and the team got another consultant to come out. We have a great plan, and I guess that has been turned over to Parks, and they are in the phase of ready to implement that. I guess there has been some delay just, due to the Gladys Hackworth Douglas property, kind of landing on them and delaying that a little bit. But we are hopeful that that will come to fruition soon, at least start. It's time to refresh our landscaping.
Are we going to see the landscape then?
We can bring that something to, we have brought something to you in the past. We can bring it
Oh, I
again.
thought he just said it got redone.
No, the first
no.
one that was done years ago, and then this one is the most
He's
recent.
going back in time. No,
Yeah.
you've seen the new landscape plan.
Yeah.
And the new section is supposed to start is right there in Main and Highland in that section. So
Right.
we're waiting to get a time schedule from Parks to go ahead forward with
Okay,
that.
I'll wait till under your section to ask you my other question. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure if this is going to fall within Bob's, or, because I'm sure you've discussed it, but where are we on the lighted
Crosswalk?
Yeah,
crosswalks on Douglas?
I can touch base on that now, Vice Mayor. I was going to do it on the director's report,
Yeah,
but.
that's why I was waiting
You
for
can,
that.
you
Yeah,
can do,
that's why I was
you can
waiting
do it
to
then,
not
and I'll
include
bring
Greg
up
in it.
another one, that's fine. You
Well, I can do it
then.
quickly with you. We're out to bid. So we're
Oh,
getting
good.
ready to get that going. So we're out to bid. And this is on 2 lighted crosswalks per the community redevelopment direction here, so.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
Second of all, I wanted to catch up, because it was in the notes, on the Marinova Inn and how that came out with their parking.
Yeah, I'm going to have to defer. I'm pretty sure that they made the parking requirements. I'd have to defer a little bit to George Kinney. There was also credit for bike racks and some other things, so I think they met their parking. But I think what George mentioned to me, I'm going to have to touch base, is they maybe were having a little bit of pause. Maybe they weren't going as quickly forward with that. But I'll need to go get him, and maybe I can send an email to the city manager and to all of you on the status of that, if I may.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
And I think we were going to get what the requirements were. I don't remember getting it, but it was in the minutes.
Yeah, we were going to get an email.
Because I think you asked
I
for
think
it.
I did provide that to you.
you
I'm
maybe-
pretty sure I did, I'll be honest with you.
Did we get it? I didn't
I
remember.
don't think we got it, but John did.
Maybe if we did, I'll have to,
If I gave it to one, I need to give it to all. I'm pretty sure I did that, but I certainly can get that to you again. You're talking about what the parking requirement is for the additional units, right?
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
remember
Yeah,
one way or another.
I'll go ahead and refresh that to you.
Any other questions
and,
for
oh,
Greg?
yeah, and since we've asked the other questions, I'll ask this. Do you know what the master lighting plan is, decorative lighting plan is? I mean,
I
think,
don't-
I think it might be out to bid.
That's what
Out to
Vince,
bid?
I know. That's a little bit more over in the park side. I'm not familiar with that.
I'm not sure if that's out to bid, but I can let you know.
Yeah.
I know he wrote the bid, so
Right.
I'm going to guess it was,
I
okay.
know we had a consultant on board, and the master plan was, yeah, but I'll defer.
Okay, but you should be aggressively part of that too, because it's your downtown, really.
Well,
It's the
yeah.
Bob Ironsmith downtown, so.
I will participate as I'm asked to participate.
Okay, cool.
I'm not sure it should be aggressively part of it, but
Well, no, I just mean like coordinating together. I wouldn't want any surprises to happen between the two of you, so.
I do get pulled in a lot of directions downtown, no
No,
no
I-
question. I was spending time this morning on the trail with Joan Rice, who used to work for us on some things. So, yeah, no, I do try to get my hand in as much as I can. Of course, we're shorthanded at the moment, too.
No, I know. No,
Okay.
it's all good. I wasn't saying it
Okay.
as a.
And more filming happened yesterday downtown from
Yeah.
Visit St.
More?
Pete Clearwater.
What is
St. Pete Clearwater.
They're doing a commercial, they did a commercial yesterday with Lane's Lemonades. I want to say that they also included
Woodwright.
Cafe Al Fresco
Woodwright.
and Woodwright. And
It is, but I still want to see the movie I'm in. The
Oh, me
first one,
too.
I
My
forget the name of it
starring
though.
role.
Oh, Taste of Love?
Taste of Love, yeah.
Yeah, the taste of love. I really think we should probably add someone to that little task force on your lights.
What do you mean?
The getting all the wonderful downtown lights together.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe
You're going to have all this free time now.
maybe the squirrels. We really should have a representative from their community.
Go join the CRA, Deb. You're going
I'm
to have
just
all,
saying,
you're
I
gonna
got
have
my
all this
chandelier and
time.
once,
We'll
you know,
we'll put you on there.
no squirrels.
They wouldn't want me. Look at that face.
You should keep this group under control, man.
Yeah, right. Okay, I have a lot of questions, but not for you, Greg, so I'm going to wait and do it for, thank you, Greg.
Thank you,
Appreciate
everybody.
that.
Thank you.
Okay, we're community redevelopment, oh, that was Greg, okay. The annual independent audit.
Yes.
Bob, Les, and we have Joel with us.
Bill Knopp, yep, this is something that's required in the CRA each year, is an independent audit, separate from the general fund, to meet the Florida statute requirements. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Les. He can go ahead and introduce Joel.
And this is another one of those like we had the other day. It's really good report, so we don't need to spend a whole ton of time talking about it because we want to spend more time talking about our long-range plan.
Sure, yeah,
Thank
it's a positive report, yeah, and I'll turn it over to Joel and let him go through the audit real quick, sure.
I don't disagree.
All right, I got the hint. Well, thank you for letting me be here and just briefly give an overview of the audit for the CRA. I can point you to the fact that the CRA is a component unit of the city, so the fund information and financial information of the general fund of the CRA is actually reported in the city's comprehensive report. So those numbers did not change. I think the main issue and the main reason the CRA separate audit is required is due to some new Florida statutes. So this really the focus of the separate audit report is compliance. So we've got several documents, one being our end of audit communication. So if we had any issues that we identified in the audit, significant findings or difficulties in getting information or any big adjusting entries, we would communicate those to you. But that was, it was a clean audit and a smooth report as it relates to those issues. So I'll turn your attention just briefly to the actual financial statement document, and there point you to our audit report, which you'll find on page 1 and our opinion on page 2, in which we give the opinion that the statements are presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And I refer you to the management discussion and analysis piece of it, which starts on page 3, and that gives you a little bit of comparative data to the prior year, as well as some summarized financial info. So there I will just leave it at the, point you to the unrestricted net position and the unassigned or the restricted fund balance of the CRA, which were at 1.3 million, and that was an increase of 338,000 over the prior year as it relates to net position. Beyond that, I just want to move quickly to the back of the document, pages starting with page 16 as the report under government audit standards. There were no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses that we identified in internal controls over financial reporting. And then the remaining reports are the accountant's report, which addresses the Florida statute, statute specific to CRA compliance and investment compliance, and then the management letter, and both of those were clean reports. So a very smooth audit, and I welcome any questions you have, but that's all I had planned to say.
Okay, any questions for the auditor?
No?
Comments? Vice Mayor, comments?
No, thank you.
All good news, right?
All good news, so somebody should say that.
Yeah,
This
all
is
good news.
and-
Thank you. Les, you feel good about it? Jennifer, you feel good about it?
Very,
Okay, thank you, Joel, very much. We appreciate it.
you.
Do we have to accept this or formally?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Can I have a motion to accept this audit this?
so moved.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Franny and Commissioner Twanga. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Joel, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Night.
Okay, now we're going to go to the CRA Long Range Funding Plan.
Yes, I got an agenda. I was going to go through that, and then certainly we're here to answer questions. I want to start up by saying the audit was great, and the CRA is financially in very good shape. Les, myself, Ashley Kempton, Jeannie have spent a long time preparing this long-range funding plan. Of course, this is to the sunset of the CRA in 2033. So a lot of different thoughts there, projections. Of course, there are things that could change, depend on what happens with assessed taxable values and the like, but this is a pretty good tool where we're comfortable with. We also took in consideration the CRA 2033 master plan, what's in the capital improvement element, what things need to be carried out, along with the CRA advisory input. Again, as I mentioned, where are we today? Where will we be in the next 10 years? That's very important. I also just want to give a little brief history of the CRA, revenues and expenses, where we were. So we're going to talk about the background, current conditions, budget considerations, and there's several to think about. Planned projects, revenue that's coming in, next steps, and of course, the questions to be able to field from the Community Redevelopment Commission here today. This is our master plan. This is kind of our Bible or our guidebook, if you will. This is what was adopted by the City Commission. This is what was adopted by Pinellas County Commission. We have a capital improvement section in there. If you remember, the CRA was going to go ahead and expire in 2018, and we got a 15-year extension from the county, and part of that was what projects are in there to be achieved from 2018 to 2033. That's what makes up that CRA master plan. This is something that really provides tremendous guidance, especially with reporting requirements that are in the CRA statutes, and also what's in the reporting requirements from the county. Just for the public, our Rcra Boundary Map, this represents 217 acres, okay? Our south border is Scotland. Our east border is like New York Avenue, and on the north is St. Joe's. So, and then of course on the west is the water. As I mentioned, a lot to be proud of at the city. So the Community Redevelopment Agency, City Commission, and staff that have worked, many of the projects, or heavy majority, that were originally in that capital improvement element to 2018 were accomplished. So we got to feel very good about that. And then of course getting it extended, we were one of the first cities to do that. It was a big lift to get the county commission to approve it. It gives us the ability to get revenue and to achieve some additional projects. CRA Advisory also provided quite a bit of input here, what should be achieved for the next 10 years. This is just, of course I show this a lot, in my travels as kind of a promotional kind of tool, but look where we were in the 80s, look where we are today, and I think sometimes we lose perception. It's been a huge accomplishment, a huge lift by many different groups, organizations, the commitment of the city. A lot to be proud of here, and that's just a quick rundown. Successful mixed-use projects, parking that was created, complete streets coming up for Skinner Boulevard. So a lot that we've gotten done. Where we are today, I think we all would agree. If you go eat downtown, even during the summer or wherever, boy, downtown is popular. It is a busy, busy place. And I think one of the nice indications, you're seeing all the requests coming in for film. Well, they wouldn't come here to film if they didn't have all the great foot traffic. We've certainly seen a rise in that. A lot of great special events. Parks puts on a lot. The merchants put on a lot. We got a great place to eat and to shop. And of course, we're the first trail town, in the state of Florida. So again, we're in a good place. Some upcoming budget considerations. There was a resolution by the county in March of 2020 that is looking for TIF revenue to be based more on the 50-50 percentage. In other words, what the city's millage is, they would contribute more toward what the city's millage is. Right now, their millage is higher. That's something that this budget does reflect, and we spent a lot of time with Les. It does reflect some type of reduction in 2025. We do think that is something that would occur. The CRA debt, it can fluctuate depending if we're successful with Congressman Bill Rackus' office to get some funds for a parking garage that's in play right now. And of course, we've got some major planned projects coming up. The property acquisition that was done there at Scotland and Douglas, the Skinner project, which is currently in design for complete streets, and the future parking garage. Those are all accounted for, as well as some continuation of leased parking lots. That makes up a big bulk of the CRA budget projections over the long run. This is a slide that kind of gives you a quick span of some major capital expenses that would happen over the next 10 years. Again, Skinner, a garage, paver projects, underground utilities, downtown alleyways, streetscapes. You got 9.1 or 9.15 million for that over the next 10 years. This is also a pretty important slide, and this is something that we've spent a lot of time with finance and budget. And of course, it's projections over the next 10 years with regard to assessed taxable values and what kind of revenue would come into the CRA. So you kind of see, and we'll get into a little bit more detail here, but you see the revenues and you see the expenses, pretty close based on some of those major projects. So you got about just under $29 million that is coming in, and about just under $29 million that would be expenses. And I can go back to these slides afterward too, so I can run through them and we can go back as needed. But the plan took all that into consideration. Certainly those large-scale projects. Again, just going to repeat that CRAC gave us a lot of input on it, and of course he spent a lot of time with budget and finance.
Nikki's here.
Hey, Nikki, we're in a meeting.
That's good, that's good. Okay. This one is a tough one to see. This is the long-range budget projects over time. I know we did a handout. I know even, my eyes, I've gotten a little older. This is hard for me to see. But I think what I'll do is just go through, go ahead and finish my agenda, and then we can recircle back with this. I know, Mayor, you had some questions and others, and we got Les here too, so. Revenue and expenses, I mentioned that earlier, are estimated. We need to make sure that we retire debt by 2033. So that's an important one. So when you look at this, we got 10 years typically to retire. If I go any shorter, Les will say, what are you doing? 10 years is kind of the very least amount for retiring debt.
Oh, you got here at 4:32?
No, I said at least we both look better than the last time we saw each other. We Zoomed today and we were both not.
I'm very sorry for my tardiness.
That's okay.
No worries.
It was on my
We've all
calendar.
done it once or twice.
Okay, my bad,
Trust
my
me.
bad.
Just note that I beat you
done
here.
it. She's
And
done
beat you
it.
here.
Commissioner Freeney would like the record to reflect that she beat me by a long shot today. My apologies. I thought I was running in at the nick of time, not
Right.
at 30 minutes late.
All right. Well, you're here at a good time, so
Great,
you
great.
hit a good time.
Continue, Bob.
All right, I'm going to start
Okay.
with questions then. I'm
Okay.
going to start on this end.
So let me, just get a couple more real quick, if I may, Mayor.
Quite done.
Oh, I thought he said.
No, I'm almost done, no problem. We stopped there a little bit, talked
Sorry,
Nikki. But CRA, obviously assuming debt, that's a factor. Major capital projects, I've mentioned those earlier. We got a midterm review with the county in 2025. That's a big deal. A lot of reporting requirements, a lot of things that need to be done with that coming up. So that's one. And the county has the ability to reduce, eliminate, extend. They have some opportunities within their ordinance. So something that we're at least being sensitive to. And then we also want to make sure we have a balanced budget. So obviously Les would be coming and saying, gee, you got to make sure you have it balanced. So our next steps, and then I know we're going to field some questions, we want to manage the projects and programs that are coming up. We want to make sure that we're taking care of the debt aspect. We want to get these new capital projects in play. And we want to have, with the county, a successful 2025 review. And that's one, of course, where Jennifer's going to play a major part in it, too, certainly with the county.
Jennifer, did you want to talk a little bit about that?
The 2025 review?
Yeah, because, what are we going to do to try to make them not go to 50/50? That needs to start talking now.
Well, actually, I have had a conversation with some of the higher-ups at county, and they're not going to make an exception for anybody. So if we don't go to the 50%, 50/50, then it's going to be across the board, and I don't think that they would support anything different for us. That's the conversation that I've had with them.
Yeah, and that's my conversation also with so they did a resolution. They're looking to make it equitable for all, as Jennifer said, all cities across the county. And this is factored in, this long-range funding plan.
No, I
we've
see
accounted
that.
for it. So this is not going to change what's in that revenue stream that we projected.
I think that we understood that the genesis of some of these activities is what happened in South Florida with the CRAs, and that, Tallahassee's not necessarily supportive of CRAs either. But, that said, I think we're very successful in our CRA and what we've managed to accomplish via the CRA, and I think it is a shame that we're kind of caught up in this. During the 2025 review, we would fight like heck, though, to retain that status quo, the 50/50, and no less. But as Bob had said, I mean, they can reduce or eliminate via their ordinance as well, so we have to be very, very careful.
Well, if I may, just to piggyback on City Manager Jennifer there, I couldn't say it any better. I think we got a very strong story. We've met the performance. We've got great things in play, but I think we want to make sure we keep everything going. I think the 50/50 is pretty much already in the cards. But, I'll certainly defer to Jennifer on that one, but.
Okay, questions?
Sure. So a
So
couple,
now you know what your mission is.
what my mission is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, no, I get that. I get that. I mean, I was actually, I was working on the 6th floor when we got the extension. And
Yes.
I knew the talk was like, they didn't want to do that then.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
So, I mean,
We were
so.
lucky.
Right, we were lucky. And so you just stay in the game, right? Because you never know. But I think that's what we have to do, but I get it.
Yeah, I think, I think Jennifer's,
Especially if a recession comes.
yeah.
Oh, please don't say that word.
No, but I'm just saying, if it did, I could see that they would be wanting more money in their pockets as well.
I think we want to reiterate what Jennifer said. We want to fight like heck and keep her 50/50, I think we can do it.
How many CRAs do they have?
I have a lot. They have St. Pete, you got Gulfport, St. Harbor, Tarpon, Largo. It's a long list, and the midterm reviews keep getting tougher, and we're watching them pretty closely. So we think we can make a very good case. But I don't think we can ask for something
Is
that.
that one of the reasons we did the debt?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
there was a little bit of thought in that, and Jennifer and I spent some time on that. We think, a couple things. We think based on our performance measures, taking on some debt, being extremely successful puts us in a pretty good place.
So did you have my next question too? No, just kidding. That was a joke. So I was just thinking back, I still remember the year that there was like $35,000 was the budget or something. It's
Yes.
ridiculous.
35,511.
We've come a long way, baby, let's put it that way.
35,511.
Is that,
my head,
see, you got it
1988.
down, I'll remember that now. I just remember you were even pulling your hair out then, like, oh my gosh, we gotta build this up. Anyway, Les, how do you feel about the assumptions you've made on the property tax values on the CRA side?
I think they're consistent with the county, the county's last information. I'd like to point a few things out regarding that, but first off, I want to mention, Bob and I worked on this for months, but we finished it, I think, about 3 weeks ago, and I want to mention our 23 assumption for AV value is 7%, and since then it's 10% that we'll be presenting next in the business plan. So that's a little better news there that we received a couple weeks ago. But the other years, 24 through 33, are consistent with what the county has been reporting, up to this point. So, it's 4.5%, and then down to 2.5%, and I think they're reasonable.
Historically, though.
Historically.
We might say they were conservative.
Yeah.
If we look back and
yeah,
say,
they're
I would say they're reasonably conservative.
Yeah.
And these numbers, I think, would handle a mild recession if we have one. In other words, I think that
wow,
would
that's the
handle
second
that.
time.
Well,
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying if
Right,
it would
yeah.
happen.
I just want to mention too, Les, too, it's always a little bit tricky, not only, unless we're talking about projections for assessed values, what projects come on board? Listen, we've been up and down with Ocean Optics, right, for years. We thought it was
Right,
coming, it didn't.
right.
So that's also a big factor in the revenue that's coming in.
Because we made assumptions when Gateway will be built out, and we made assumptions also on Ocean Optics and Gateway both. So, we've got them CO'd on certain years, so if it's later than that, then the stream's going to be lower because we've got some
Yeah.
pretty large new construction. So those are variables for sure, as far as when this actually
No,
comes
I mean,
online.
conservative's good, in my view. The parking garage. So like, is the money in the long-range plan of $1.5 million, just remind me, I guess, the 1.5 million, like, are you saying what's in this long-range plan is the money that maybe or maybe not happens because of Bill Aracus?
The opposite, actually. I can Les talk. Go ahead, Les. You want to?
Yeah, right now in the budget, we've got it that the city's funding, the total project cost is 6.2 million, and we've got right now 4.2 million that the city is funding, and that's 1.5 from CRA and the rest from Penny. We're showing the project we're showing the $2 million that we are hopeful that we're going to receive the federal grant on as being unfunded. At this time, we're showing it that way, so our budget documents, with our proposed budgets, are showing that we have the fiscal need for that grant. So basically, we're showing the CRA at 1.5. If the grant's not successful, then we will be needing to put that $1 million back in the CRA as an expense. But right now, we're showing it at 1.5, mainly just for optics of the fact that if we show the project fully funded and they ask for more information, it's going to appear that we really don't.
Basically, I should have never asked that question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
that's
that's a good
okay.
question.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just saying,
And I think
Got it.
one of the things too.
well, it shows the need in other areas.
Oh,
We need
very
it,
much.
right.
And if we didn't get it, I think one of the things that, when we played with this, it's cumulative. It's not just 1 year in time. When you don't have it, you're spreading out over all these years, so that makes it tricky, so.
Okay, no, good, that helps me. The impact of, I know that the city hall's been assessed, because I saw the company out scouting the building. When do we expect that, and do we expect any impact on this budget, on this long-range issue, because, with this building? I mean,
Well,
even if
it
it's just
says-
tearing it down, I mean.
It only says $20,000 in here for the
No.
City Hall adaptive reuse. It
Yeah.
doesn't show anything that we
Two-
might be
two-
doing
Yeah.
here.
Two different things. One, the consultant analysis is being covered by a different department, and Jennifer can talk about that one.
Facilities.
But the $20,000 that we have in here is for charrettes, public input, and things like that. This is not funded, whatever happens with this. It could be another city funding.
So there's no, like, if it has to get torn down, there's no demolition cost.
There was not. There would need to be a funding source for that.
Now, at one time, we did talk, it was just talk, that if there was money left over from the new City Hall, that we could apply some of that money to this because it's connected.
That's correct. The loan that we received stipulates that it can be used for other items, other capital projects. So, yes,
So, but at this point, we have no money put aside
we do not.
for this, whatever this is going to be. And that's really critical. It's got to show somewhere,
Well,
whatever it is. And I know we got to decide what that is, but even if it was just like a $500,000 placeholder somewhere, I mean, to put nothing seems,
Well, let me ask the
Let's do this,
question.
if I
We
may.
wait for the report, right? And then we're going to be right, I assume we're going to get that before our budget decisions.
Yes,
So then we act
we can
accordingly.
make the decisions
Okay.
then, yeah.
So
So
was that
before-
good? Did I answer the question
Perfect.
for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
so before July, we're going to see that report?
Before July, yes, I would think so, yes, absolutely.
Because I saw them out here a couple weeks ago. I
Yes,
saw it,
yeah. They're preparing the report right now
So, go back.
on the condition of the building.
The 20,000 is just to do the assessment of the physical.
Is to do the studies and the charrette and the public,
Capability.
and that type of a thing. So really, the report's going to tell us what the condition of the building is, whether or not it's salvageable or not. And then moving forward, then whatever we put in the budget is whatever we decide to do with it thereafter. So, and that's still, a big question mark. So it's a process.
Well, and the other thing, and I'll just, this is like something you've pounded the drum on, and I don't know whether it's something we need or not, but I guess that's part of the plan, like, an East End bathroom, public bathroom, so.
Yeah, I think that's certainly something that needs to be explored, either bathrooms by the trail or in addition to bathrooms on the East End. Yeah.
Well, and to that point, though, I mean, we already have water wastewater lines to this building, laterals, and
So that makes it
right.
an
I mean, it
easier
makes
thing.
sense that whatever happens moving forward. And honestly, this is a public restroom during the day for the East End, because we have more people coming in here to use the restroom than to see staff.
Right.
So,
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
well, we're not going to keep the building just for the restroom, so.
right,
Yeah,
that's
we
true.
might
I
not
mean,
have that.
we could demolish it, and I'm saying put a small facility there.
No, I get it. So, continue. And so, okay, so I looked at all this, Bob, and I guess in your professional opinion, like, what's missing? That, you know, like, you don't have the money for it, and you're like, oh, man, we should be able to do this, but we're not gonna be able to.
Wow. Well, it's a great question.
Is it,
You certainly could make the case on this redevelopment, whatever that takes the shape.
Mm-hmm.
You certainly could make that case, very much so, or a combination of some funding and CRA. So that could be one item that I guess would be missing from this long range. We're kind of putting a lot of our cards in complete streets, garage, and the property we purchased, to be honest with you. I think there's still a good redoing the pavers. I think that it really needs to
I
be
was
done.
gonna ask you about maintenance, if you think
Yeah.
maintenance is really in here enough, and,
You probably could make the case for some more. I mean, to refresh it. I mean, the downtown over time can look a little bit tired. Underground utilities and pavers are a big part of it. We've started a little bit. We're going to continue to do that. So I think that's something that certainly, could be expanded for sure.
So wish list kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that we would really love to
I
do
didn't
is
use wish list purposely, because wish list seems like, pie in the sky, but,
something
something,
that would be very helpful and supportive of the downtown businesses
yeah.
and specifically special events as well is just the bollards that come up out of the ground instead of our trucks.
oh, yeah, that's,
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
been doing a lot of
well, that's
of
staff time
reviewing.
savings, really, in the end.
Yeah.
And safety.
Right, exactly. And aesthetics and just about everything, involved in
Yeah.
that. So it's
be
something
nice.
we'd like to,
That'd be that'd be the first.
yeah,
How
yeah.
do they do that?
They go ahead
Is it very
and.
expensive?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Like,
It's a mechanical type device with borings and then come up under the ground, so, yeah.
Because you gotta have a bunch of them.
Electrical, yeah, it's in the ground, and then, you essentially raise them all and then lower them again, and it has to be covered, it has to have a cover on it, that type of thing. So
Yeah, I
we
guess-
have done some review
can
of
we get
that.
some sense, not today, but can we get some sense of the cost of something like that?
We have done, that review. The Looper is another one, and we are talking to a company, actively talking to a company. The pilot program that we're looking at is very interesting, actually.
Good.
So,
But that's in here. I mean, that's in the
yeah.
Yeah, that is in
regular
here.
stuff. That's in the regular
The
cost.
other item, if you could go back in time, stormwater drainage, it's not very sexy, but it helps facilitate redevelopment.
Right.
Whether we were able to do vaults or things underneath the road with exfiltration, things like that. None of that's in here, but that would be important.
That doesn't come out of here, have to come out of here, right? Come out of
Stormwater.
stormwater stuff.
Yeah, if stormwater could come on board with that, that'd be a big help. I mean, a lot of cities have a master drainage area. We don't have that, the way we got built,
You can make
But-
that happen, Jennifer.
Can you get that in the plan?
I go get a shovel.
No, we don't want you to do it.
Where's Jorge?
Come on, get that started, yeah. I don't have anything right now. I've probably taken plenty of my time.
John?
Yeah, just for clarity's sake, Bob, I was going to ask the question, I think she hit on it. How many CRAs are there within the county? I think you started listing them or something like
I
that.
did.
I
I need to get that to you, John, I'm sorry, I
Okay.
can't.
I know the issue of what happened down in South Florida, et cetera, and what all the
Well-
problems that caused. So for us, this is really simply a decision being made up at the county level. Now, you stated, we're talking about this 50/50. Where are we today, and what's the probability of that changing? I would like to just hear that from you.
Certainly. We're currently 56 county. They've been a big partner for us, so I definitely want to compliment them for working with us all those years. They're 56%, the city is 44%. And the 50/50, they passed a resolution in 2020 and working toward that with the other communities. So, probability, very high. I mean,
And you
pretty much it. It's
And your comment was you've put that in here now, not the
Yes.
56/44? Okay.
Yes.
All right,
We
thank you.
factored that in already. That was an important part for us and certainly reduced the amount of TIF coming in.
Thank you. I too went down the list and was looking at, I looked at the pavers. And of course, there's more words than that than just pavers. Walkability and that kind of a thing. But I too was wondering about the numbers that were there as it relates to those subject matters, and specifically then the pavers and the walkability. And it seemed like a high number, and I thought, well, I'll just ask about that from the paver side.
Sure.
I think it meant more than pavers. So can you just talk to me just a little bit about?
Certainly, Commissioner, absolutely. Great question. And yes, it's more than pavers. Typically, what happens is there's a lot of grade issues on this, and drainage and ADA walkability and landscaping and other elements with utilities. For example, the one in, we call it Main Street, which is on the south side from where the trail is to Douglas, frontage really Costantina. We've got major grade changes in there, and we even have to go ahead and take up a little bit of the pavement and readdress it. So, yeah, these are not just putting down brick in a set situation. It requires much more to it than that. And that's why the costs are probably appearing a little bit higher perception-wise.
And this isn't necessarily to be a negative comment, not directed at you, just a negative comment.
Sure.
Of course, I've been in Venice a number of times, in Venice, Italy, where we have that flooding going on in their main downtown. And I know that we've got some concerns about that being a coastal city here. And you started talking about that just a few minutes ago, but have we really sat down and looked at that to see what do we need to do in advance of any further maneuvering within the CRA from a cost standpoint? Because the last thing that we would need to be doing is to throw down the gamut that they do in Venice when that happens. It's getting worse and worse and worse there, of course. But has anything been put in this budget in that consideration? I think you just said no, that it really comes under another department, but.
Yeah, no, there is nothing in here, Commissioner, on that, and yeah, I would defer to Paul Stanek and Stormwater on those issues. I know when we do any development that we need to meet current standards, we look at vaults and exfiltration, but I think what you're mentioning is with sea rise and other things, how we're going to address that down the road, and I'd have to defer to Paul, unless, okay. Yep.
Which is basically sustainability.
Yeah,
Part
yeah,
of
no,
our
it's a
sustainability
biggie.
plan for, the muscle.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no question about it. But yes, the pavers require much more than just, and boy, have we been through the gamut with the Main Street section we're trying to do. We're looking to do it next July, next year. The grade issues have just been severe, and it causes a lot of complications.
Yeah.
And when I look at these projects, I'm always thinking grades,
Les and Bob, the sheet that we have here shows numbers for 34.
Yes.
On the top part. Can you just tell me why that's that way?
Yeah, I think
that's
that's,
when it ends.
the CRA expires December of 2033, so we have like 3 months roughly of that fiscal year. And so it's really like a partial year is what that last 34 would be.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that anybody who was listening to this would say, wait a minute, you said 33 and now we're going into 34. So it just kind of finishes up there then. Bob, we're talking about the CRAs kind of going away. Can you just, you live in that world a lot more than what I do. Again, we talked about that in general. Is this going to be happening now? Is this continuation is going on in Florida now that we're
Absolutely, and one of the things I want to get across, and I know Jennifer will be getting across to the county too, or maybe together, what have you. When this sunsets, all that value that's been created, guess goes where? Goes to the county, but comes to the city too. My initial thoughts to the city at the end of that period of time could be anywhere from $1.6 to $2 million. So basically what I want always try to tell the county, who's been great partners with us, we're stewards to create value. So if you want, we're almost like financial investment type people. Give us the money, we're going to make something better, and you're going to get it at the end. And but yeah, it definitely, as Jennifer mentioned, the state and the way things are going, CRAs are starting to, they're going to end their time period. I think they've been a great tool. Obviously, it's something I've been close to all these years. And I don't know, Jeffrey, you got anything?
Yeah, I would add, and as you had said, at the end of in 2033, all of those assets come to the city as well. Mm-hmm. So if we have 1.6 million in value, I'm sure whomever is sitting up here is going to have to figure out, and will figure out exactly how we maintain some of those assets that are currently maintained by the CRA.
Yeah, and what I would do, whenever the end of my time period is, I would just give you a little bit of a plan. I think you'll have X amount of dollars that will need to stay in the downtown for maintenance and things of that nature. And then you have, the city will have additional revenue to maybe do some other corridors and things. So that's just my perspective.
So that's my final question for that subject matter.
Okay.
How much do you think we're going to have, for example, anytime that you build something or add an asset, and that's why sometimes people don't even want to take an asset because they don't want to take care of it. They don't want to maintain it. So what would be the final number, do you suppose, that we would have to allocate to taking care of those assets once this closes?
I'm going to really swag some quick answers here. I have given this some thought. We're currently a $200 million asset downtown. This is assessed property values. I think we'll probably get up to 350, maybe 400 million, who knows with the economy. I would think just to run things, maybe $300,000 to $400,000, and then the rest of it the city could use as decided by the commission. That's just a general thought. There'll still be needs, here and there. So that's just a quick. I know Jennifer can't kick me from here, but that's just a quick number.
That makes me feel a little bit better. I thought it might have been just a little bit higher, and I was just going to remind all of us to use that in our discussion, certainly when we talk with the county.
Well, I think there's going to be things, benches and different things, and maintenance and pavers, things like that. But you have other funding departments too, the, stormwater and streets and things like that are also going to contribute, just like they do anywhere else in the city. So that's my initial thought. But I think you always want to keep the downtown strong, regardless.
I think those are my main questions.
Okay. Vice Mayor, any questions? Or?
Yeah, I was going to comment on the walkability of the pavers because they really do shift, just walking.
Oh, the underlaid, yes.
Right.
The underlaid, yes.
Right. And, I was walking not too long ago along that strip, and when they start to shift, then you're almost, you've got to be very careful about trip and fall. I hate to say that. Hope nobody heard that. Any PI, any personal injury people out there.
Well, and it's more ADA accessible when you're fixing it.
That's correct.
It's
But
all,
I mean,
it's about all of it.
Yeah, we're retrofitting some, I have no question about it.
and you're doing it, just trying to retrofit some.
Yeah, and there's, certainly a little bit of cosmetic too. Some of them start to look tired and worn. They've been down for well over, God, I've had 25 years, some of the stuff I did early on, so, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to make that comment. Also, on the welcome signs, we got a really interesting email on should we look at some of our opening, welcome to Dunedin CRA signs. That was really interesting. Of course, I love the Piper. I really do love the Piper, but it was an interesting thing that we might, it might be time to bring people together and say, could we freshen it or whatever. Another thing, I think, Jennifer is.
Can I add something to that? This could probably true of, I don't know, do we just have one Piper or two Pipers at entranceways?
There's one on, obviously,
one-
Edgewater.
The one on Edgewater,
But there's another one.
the one on Edgewater is a little thing, I think it'd be so easy to do, but the one on Edgewater, the city seal, just by replacing the city seal, it is like beyond tired and rolling in from the edges. And actually, it's like the rest of the sign doesn't look bad, but that just brings it down, and it's the city seal. And I'll bet it'd be like such an easy fix.
I can mention it to, Parks does that one.
Yeah,
I
would you?
certainly can
That
mention
would be great,
to-
because I
to
just walk
Vince.
by it, and I'm like, every time I go by, I
You're
gotta
talking about
say something.
The seal aspect of it.
Yeah, there's just a city seal like that, and it's all crinkled around the edges and faded, and it just makes the sign itself look bad, but it's
Just
really
on
just
on
the seal.
Edgewater on the south
On
side.
Edgewater.
Yep.
But you know what, even just.
But we also use the brick signs here, doesn't have the Piper on it, but here, and then down by Broadway.
But I just
Several.
thought it
There's
was a
two.
very interesting question.
No, it was.
From someone, and he says he an artist. Is
It
time
could
to
be.
look at a
Only
refresh?
interjection I would have, yeah, it certainly could be. You just balance between consistency and individuality, you know, that's always.
True, but as
Yeah,
I
but
said,
I mean,
I
they
like
should
the
all be the
bagpiper.
same, I think, but
We
they
branded them
can
that
be.
way over years and a lot of money to get
Well,
out. So we
right.
have to be careful.
The one thing we haven't
I
done,
understand what you
and
mean.
we want to get a staff person on board, is, boy, we have these little brick entryways everywhere within the city, and it's kind of been part of the brand, whether it's a cemetery, it's a community center, everywhere. And I
That's
think,
true.
I
That
think we
is
need to get an
part of the
inventory
brand.
on that. Yeah.
No,
I frankly like them.
I like
the
the
brick, it may
piper
just be the
on
sign that needs
Edgewater.
to be, itself that needs to be
I really like the
freshened up.
piper. It's very unusual. You just
I
don't
agree.
go into, but, you know, you can even freshen up the piper just by little, you know.
No question.
Artist repainting a little bit, so. Also, I wanted to ask, Jennifer, are you bringing is it going to be in a workshop or on something, the artist incubator?
Yeah, if may I? So, yes, we're working really hard on this, and Jennifer is too. I probably talk to her almost every other day on this. Seriously, we've been on this for several months. This is coming to you on June 21st as part of a workshop item. We feel that we've started to get negotiations in a pretty good place. So let me say that. There's been a lot, and of course, we're a third-party
Got it.
negotiators. And, you know, and Jennifer's up to speed on everything. But, yeah, that's going to come to you on June 21st with a PowerPoint.
We'll bring, it's what Bob calls it, the deal structure, not the agreements themselves.
Thank
Just for,
you.
you know, consensus direction.
Yeah,
And then it isn't up until the end of September.
that's good. Thank you all.
Yeah, exactly. And there was notice in there, and Randy has agreed to waive notice in June, so we got that in play. But as Jennifer said, it's up in September, you'll see this in June, and then from that point on, depending on what the commission decides, would be a Nikki Day agreement.
And Nikki Day.
Nikki Day.
Right, in the queue.
Every day is a good day.
Every day is a
Nikki now?
Nikki Day, right?
It's, no, I mean,
She needs workshops too.
I will add it after this discussion and get with Jennifer
Yeah,
but.
Yeah, we're not quite ready.
we haven't given it, yeah, we haven't given anything to Nikki yet till we get this deal
Nothing's
done.
come to me yet.
No.
Well, get it in the queue, come on.
Yeah.
You know,
As we get consensus direction.
now, I did think it was very interesting because we're going to be making a big decision on this place. And so, you know, based on the assessment, I thought it was very interesting that where is it, if it has to be demolished, where are those costs are going to come from? Where's that revenue coming from? If it's to be retrofitted, where are those monies coming from? I mean, where is it?
It's nowhere right now. That's the
Well,
thing.
there are lots of questions involved in
Yeah.
that. I mean, and we're not, first of all, we need to find out the condition of the building, because, you know, that would dictate our next steps.
Correct.
And I don't think we should necessarily assume that the city will be paying if the building remains in place and it's updated. So, you know, we need to put together what that business decision would be for the city commission, and we're just not there yet. We could spend a lot of time putting that together, and we just demolish the building.
Okay.
Well, it could be grants too, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I just, actually, I thought that was a smart thing that she said about you know, if you have to demolish it, where's the money? But I got it.
And demolition is traditionally, as you know, not as expensive as you think it is. It's actually a lot cheaper just to demolish a building and cart it off than anything else.
Okay, well, anyway, those were sort of some of my highlights. Thank you.
Jeff?
Well, you guys pretty much hit everything I was going to. The signage, since everybody brought it up, yeah, that Piper on Edgewater is actually pretty tired, if you look close at it. Well, the drones are broken off. If you go and look behind the sign, you got a lot of that sign is actually falling off and falling apart.
Well, and it's a pretty dated look of a Piper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's more like a 70s type looking Piper than it is. I mean, we got some pretty hot looking Pipers today. So, I mean, we could, you know, we could make that Piper guy look a little better. Just saying.
And speaking of signage and everything downtown, we've got
I
the
swear to God, I
Archway
have no
over
room.
Broadway. And I just think, I really like that arch. And I just wonder if we couldn't have that type of signage to identify different sections of downtown.
You mean-
Multiple arches, you mean? Multiple arches.
Yeah, or some sort of signs like that, so if you're texting people, if you're over by the Denny Brewery, I'm at whatever the name of that section would be, and it's identified by the arch. If you're on Broadway or whatever.
But
I don't know what those names would be.
You also identify, which could be really fun, is different areas by different names. I mean, they do that all over the
Right.
place.
Well, I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
like
But doing it in
south-
arch form,
south
or
of
adding more of
Main,
those.
Scottish, I'm at the
south of
Aberdeen
Main,
section, or whatever that would be.
North
you know,
of Main.
Restaurant row, but we have restaurant row all the way down Main Street, so, but, things like that they do.
It might be able to do that with the entranceway itself too, so, understand.
Well,
Planting the
thanks.
seed.
Well, I'm not going to say it. It's kind of.
And with the landscaping or the pavers, however that looks, I just really liked what Tina talked about when she was talking about making downtown cooler. And we're known for our walkability, but we're also known for how hot it gets in July and August. And so if there's any coolness that can be added into here to try and reduce the heat, or to add hydration stations everywhere, so that when you're walking, you can fill up your water bottle,
We are
et
looking to
cetera.
put in a large shade tree in that project in front of there to, as you said, for.
Only one is at the shade downtown. We're gonna have one large tree that just,
Well, we're just doing that.
like cattle, we're all just huddled under the tree.
Well, I think you got to work in an incremental fashion, right?
Right, yeah.
So,
Right.
I'm just telling you, in that section, we're looking to do that.
In what section
Problem
is
is
that?
we don't have enough time to do things incrementally. That's the problem.
Well,
We're
but
looking at the end, so
More
we have
money.
to, it's all about money,
Or
really.
funding, yeah.
Just right, if we are walkability, and we're talking about climate change and getting people out, more shade, more hydration stations, just so you're comfortable walking around our downtown. Try and take away any concept for the resident it's too hot to go downtown. No, it's not, type of thing. And actually, that was it.
Thank you.
Are those, and I'm just really curious, because I did think that was really interesting, are those spray system things? I have no earthly idea.
Cooling mist
The
thing?
misting?
Yeah, are they major expensive, or do they use your water resource, or, there's a lot
I know
of,
I've seen them, but in the past, I don't know.
it's interesting.
Okay, so what we don't see on here is the city hall rehab, whatever it is. The additional bathrooms, the ballards that were discussed. When I look at what we have down for undergrounding, I don't think that's nearly enough money.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a really low amount. We have more down for pavers than we do for undergrounding, and undergrounding, we know, costs a lot. Another thing that, and it's really big thinking, I understand, and it's really far out there, but I'm convinced that once the East End starts moving, once the Gateway is built, and providing it's doing everything it's already talked about doing, hotel, event space, food hall, nice restaurant, all those things, and apartments. I'm convinced that that is going to trigger some of our, and that's why we have the East End plan, it's going to trigger revitalization up this way. And at some point, we're going to need more parking up at this end. And at some point, probably after 2034, but I'm convinced that we're going to need another garage, and it's going to need to be right over there. Because if all of these things turn over to something that is more like what's on the West End, and that up there, it's going to bring a ton more people. So,
there's not a shot in hell in this budget for anything like that. I'm just saying, but I am convinced that is going to have to be a future goal at some point.
You're mentioning a parking garage on the City Hall surface lot?
No, I can't see that.
Well, I'm not saying in the next 10 years, but I'm saying it's something that's we're going to need more parking when East End revitalizes. Nobody thought that the West End was going to revitalize, but with what's going to happen here over the next 10 to 15 years, if we have done our job right, the downtown, the Deep is going to, these buildings, they're going to turn over into other types of businesses, and none of them have their own parking. Just saying, So we just have to, I just don't want us to lose sight of that. And then the other thing, I guess I can ask you those questions under your report.
Director's report, you mean?
Yep. The only thing financially I noticed was we don't have a lot of capital in 25 and 26. I'm assuming we've got like 100,000 and then in one year and 200,000 in the other year. I'm assuming that's because we don't know what's going to happen with the county, right? Is that why there's nothing
Well,
there?
It's that, and of course, Les can expand, but it's also because of the debt aspect. And of course, remember, if we don't get some grant funding from Congressman Bill Rackus, it could be even a little bit more severe. Les, I'll let you talk on now.
No, that's right, and it's that, and also if you look at the yellow highlighted
Yeah.
row.
No, I see it.
Yeah, we're just trying to manage cash flow there too, that's part of that too, Mayor, just.
Because that's just not that's like almost nothing happening.
Yeah.
Capital-wise, and I'm very concerned about that, too. I want to express that concern.
Sure.
Because we're in 22, wait, are we in 22 or 23? 22. We're in 22 right now, today. And we're planning for 23. If the gateway were to break ground and be built, it would be nice that it break ground this fall. If, that's a whole big if.
Yeah, it's a 2-year build and time gets on.
So you're talking end of 24 to the beginning of 25 because it's a 2-year build, right?
Yeah, it won't get on tax rolls, so we project.
No, I'm not talking about the money. I'm talking about the build.
Yeah.
That's going to start to spur stuff that we haven't even thought about yet. Whenever something like that happens, it always does. You start to see, oh, wow, we didn't think about this. Because every time that this has happened, we see that. Not at anybody's fault, it just is what it is. I just know we're going to need more money than that in there. And I don't know how we do it, and I don't know if it's a matter if we're looking at penny for those 2 years to supplement, if that's what has to happen, but I'm just concerned about having very little money in those 2 years. Okay. Thank you very much, Bob and Les.
Okay.
This is something we really needed to see. I think now, even though it's not in our master plan, you just brought forward an idea of ballards. We talked about more bathrooms. You've readily admitted that the undergrounding is not, money is not sufficient. And we don't have any money for this, which will come later, this building. How do we get those things on a list of, can we put on here future ideas? Increase undergrounding,
You can.
Ballard project?
We just might have to drop some or put down.
No, I'm saying as a footnote.
Sure.
Or something that we don't lose sight of, we know we need more bathrooms, but there's no money here for it. Bless you. We know that the undergrounding money isn't enough. I don't know what is needed. You'd have to tell us that, and I know you can't answer that.
Right.
And you've got the idea of the ballards, which is something new because the world has changed. It isn't anything we would have thought about 10 years ago,
We can.
So, I mean, maybe we can just get that on a,
Yeah, we can, I'm going to defer to Les on that, and I can work with him, but.
how we ever do
we
that,
can-
but I
we
think
can-
it's important we don't lose sight of these things.
We can put it on there with an asterisk and just unfunded at this time. I don't know, unless you got a better way, Les, there's something that.
We'll figure something out, yeah.
Because it's
If
not in the
everybody knows it,
master
yeah.
plan, and
I don't know if it belongs on the budget itself. I think
We
that
need to
it
put it
belongs
somewhere.
somewhere, right.
I don't know where. I don't care where you put it, but we need to just keep our eyes on it,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying. Okay. All right. Thank you. We don't have to vote on any of that. That's just a presentation. So then we have the CRA Director's Report. Bob?
Yeah, I'll be very brief here.
Sure.
And then I can answer any questions you might have. But Skinner continues on with DOT. It's under design for the complete streets. We're very excited about that, and certainly getting the participation from DOT. And of course, as we've mentioned before, we got multiple funding sources on that one. Gregory mentioned Frank Chivas, so we're going to, hopefully the Rock House will be a steakhouse, will be a nice addition. That shows you the tremendous investment that he's looking to make in downtown. That shows you, boy, people want to be downtown. This is a guy, obviously, with restaurants throughout the county. We talked about a little bit about the Douglas crosswalks lighted. That's out to bid, so we'll hope to get that thing built here during the summer, so we're excited about that. And we continue to make sure that we have a lot of leased parking in addition to city parking downtown. You're going to see coming up here on June 7th, we're working with the new owner of Ocean Optics, and we want to continue that lease till he gets ready to get something built out there. And he's agreed to keep the same lease that we had in play before. So we're looking at amended, restated that Attorney Nikki Day prepared. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
That one I think is done.
I'm sorry?
That one is done.
That one is done. No, Nikki,
on your agenda.
Nikki's great. That one's prepared. That one's on for June 7th. We're in good shape. No, Nikki hasn't seen any. We only get you the stuff when we have something put together, so.
Well, my questions, because I think we have to keep, there was a lot of comments on the citizen survey, and I think, that really fascinated me, but there was a lot of comments on Coca-Cola.
Yes.
And
yes.
there was also, I get a lot of personal, and there was a lot of pushback in the citizen survey about the past development as proposed for Ocean Optics. So, a lot of people are very interested in what's going to happen with Ocean Optics. And I know you're saying now, at this point, we're going to still have parking for a while.
Right.
And we'll be voting on that, but still, I'm just pointing out I think that there's a lot of interest in those two.
No question. The city manager, Jennifer, went over with all the department heads, the citizen survey. We spent some time on that. We're looking at the comments. Certainly realize Ocean Optics high profile, and we've certainly relayed that to the new owner. It's a key. Coca-Cola, we actually have a meeting tomorrow, phone. We continue to stay engaged with Coca-Cola. So, and I know the other item was affordable housing, and we're working hard on that one too. So,
Yeah, and, I know you are.
that is one of the toughest things that
But
I've done in
again,
my career, I can tell you.
I'm
that.
just going to say it again, we're looking at, we're looking at people that need a roof over their head, and that's part of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And then you get to another spectrum, and you're saying, I'm working, but I still can't afford to be in, rent in, Dunedin. So it's a broad spectrum. And
I couldn't agree more. I can tell you that Jennifer certainly made that a high priority with me, and that we talk every other day, and we are trying very hard to get a project or maybe two to go, so.
Workforce.
Both, yeah.
And eventually, I still think that that's going to have to come down from maybe the county level, and it's going to just be that in big developments, there's a portion, there is a.
They're a major player, and we're certainly working very closely with them.
That there's some percentage that's given to more workforce availability to rent.
Understand?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you. Commissioner?
Thank you. The steakhouse, is there any talk, Bob, on the branding of that? My concern is these are now starting to be players in the restaurant industry, and we're known for our mom and pops, sole proprietor type, and if this is gonna look like a salt rock, if this is gonna look like, that you hear all the time about our quaintness and small, and we're losing that identity, and certainly that would be part of it.
We put, no, I couldn't agree more. We don't want to lose that charm and ambiance that you mentioned, and we don't want it just to be a franchise. We've put that on him, and he said, no, that's not going to be the situation, both from architecture, signage, all those things, so it's not going to look like that. Yeah, we were concerned about that, too.
And do we have a name for it yet?
No, just the Rock House. Yeah, the Rock House
Rock
is
House.
definite. The steakhouse aspect, I think he's still investigating what the best restaurant theme is.
It's gonna have a different name than the other restaurants that are out there.
It's going to be called just as Rock House. That is the name.
Oh,
It
that's,
is a Rock House.
That is the
Okay.
Rock House.
and it's going to be unique.
It's going to be very unique. It's going to have outdoor. He's going to take some of the rocks. He's going to make sure the architecture, we met with the architect. We're pretty comfortable because we are concerned, Commissioner, what you just said. We don't want to see something that would be on 60 or a major state road, I guess. I'm beating up Clearwater here a little bit, but.
And, thank you, Bob, and, right, we just talked about ocean optics, and certainly, not only was that in the survey, but it was all over Facebook, and it was just something the residents didn't like about it. And I think what they really didn't like about it was the mass and scale, not necessarily the density. Just, it's a big lot, and whatever it's gonna go there, it's gonna take up the lot. And so I just wanna put this out there. I think it has value. We'll see what everybody else says. I know we'd have to be in line to do this, but I would like to suggest that we purchase the property and then take the north side of Pioneer Park, run a line to the trail, and from there to Main Street, that would remain green space, and then we sell off everything else. That would give us some more green space for kind of creating a linear park downtown, and that would help reduce the size of the lot to reduce the concern the residents have over mass and scale, and then just let them make whatever they want to do with the rest of that. And I think, given the market, understanding we're in an inflationary period, and there's a little bit of slowdown in real estate, but I still think there might be room that we could purchase the lot, carve off that, some sort of green space there, and sell off the rest of it, and hopefully the sale of that rest of it could actually would be for the price that we purchased the entire lot for. So we could actually get away without any taxpayer money for the lot. I think that would be a win for us on green space. I think it'd be a win for the residents on reducing mass and scale. I don't know what that would do for any developer. I don't know how many developers that are currently in line wanting to take a bite at that apple. I don't know.
Yeah, I can tell you that,
Your contract, right?
Yeah.
yeah, he's pretty, it closed.
Yeah, I thought it closed, yeah.
Oh, he closed?
A fairly significant price, and he's looking at some type of mixed use. He is looking at some type of retail and some other aspects to it. We've certainly mentioned to him that scale, mass, what you mentioned, Commissioner, is very, very important, making sure the corner is open there by the Douglas side, so. But we haven't seen anything. There's nothing to see at this point.
I get it, and I know that the previous developer tried really hard. But I just think there's nothing that's going to be, you can do to that, because it's mass and scale. Whatever they do is going to be big. And just trying to.
It almost seems like, I know this isn't, I'm not saying yea or nay to your idea, but it almost seems like it's true because it wasn't the height that was the problem. It was in
Covering
the other project previous to this one, to the hotel. It was one building in front of the glass building, so it felt smaller, even though it was actually almost taller. So I think it's because it's going from one block to another. So it's almost as if whatever they do, if it was broken up a little bit. So it was, multiple buildings.
Yeah, we have not got to that point yet, so
Yeah,
understand.
I understand, but I'm kind of responding to the concerns that were expressed by both of you of what residents had said. And it's almost like if it was just, frankly, if you want to know my wish is that, we could get somebody to buy it, right? And have a permanent market there. Take it out of the park, have a permanent market where they sell meat and fish and vegetables, and have smaller version of what they have in
larger
Yeah.
cities, yeah.
But
That, I mean, that would be, because it's a big enough lot, to me, that would be, and it would have some buildings, you know, a smaller version of St. Lawrence Market, something. That's what I would love that to be. But that's just my pet wish.
you know,
And given they've closed on it, what does that, you know, if the commission were to say, yes, Commissioner, that's a great idea, it's closed, does that kill that idea completely, or can we get in line in case something doesn't happen and they put it on the market again? You're the real estate guy, I don't know.
Well, he owns it,
Right.
that's for sure. He paid top dollar for it. It is, I will tell you, yes, I am a real estate broker. He did what's called a 1031. In other words, he sold another property at X amount of dollars, and then to defer capital gains, he had to declare and close on another piece of property, and that's what we did here. So it probably more than just purchasing the property, because now he's got this other situation in there. So I understand what you're saying, but whether he decided not to go forward with it or something, we could always ask him to give us,
And
you know,
if there's, right, since he's closed on it, there's probably no one else in line.
No.
You may at least have a first right of refusal. And so it comes to us, and we can say yea or nay.
we were talking a lot of money here too, I just want to.
Yeah, we're talking a lot of money, I get that,
Okay.
I get that. But whatever is built there is gonna change our downtown, and we can't hide from that fact.
Yeah,
And-
there's two ways to look at that. You know, scale and mass, what you're saying, and the other one is it's an empty parking lot and there's no foot traffic going through, so there's no activity center. So it is
I get
a
that,
balance,
right.
so it is a balance.
It is a balance, and so I thought my idea was kind of could be a win-win.
Sure.
Although an expensive endeavor.
Yes.
And I get that. But I don't want to be afraid of the expense. And that's something that even if we say, yes, we want to do that, and we're get the first right of refusal, it could be when it comes down to it, it is just too expensive, we can't do it. And I get that. But it's just a matter of trying to position us in the best position possible.
Yeah, no, I just want to mention 1031, a little bit more to,
And I have no idea what that is, but that's okay.
that means you make
No.
money, and then you, in order to
Right.
defer it, you put it into another purchase.
Right, yeah, that's
piece
just
of
capital gains, right. I get
right,
that.
it's easy, just 6 months to declare and then a year to
Right.
close.
So, but for us, it's kind of irrelevant. That's just what he did, and he's,
Well, we certainly can ask,
bought it.
we certainly can ask him, if you decide not to go, would you, yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask. We can always do it if that's what the consensus of the commission is. I don't want
Well, I
to
think we'd
overstep.
have to talk about that. I mean, it's a big topic. I couldn't possibly,
Yeah, I can't decide. I mean, I think I want to think about it a little bit. I mean, listen, I'll be honest, I've had those conversations with Jennifer over the years and just recently with ARPA funds. Trust me, I've had those conversations. I'm concerned, it's not that I don't want to do it, I'm concerned that now that we have seen the ARPA funds and we see our limitations here with the CRA, it's not that I don't want to do it. And it still might be like a debate as to exactly what it would be, because I might fight you for it, you know, but I mean, the preservation of it was my top thing.
yeah,
It
I
certainly
was just
doesn't
trying to
need to
look
be a
at a way
parking
that we
lot.
could,
Yeah, no, I get it.
they just reduce mass and scale, and it's not changed downtown so dramatically. And doing something like this is actually, we are not out of pocket any money just by getting on a list.
If it works that way, yeah.
You know, so it's of no cost to get a first right of refusal. And then if he decides to ask us and talk to us about it, and, yeah, it's too expensive, then we say thank you anyway.
Things change, so, yeah.
So, but I was just thinking about it, and I just thought I'd throw it out there for discussion, or what have you. I think it's something to at least entertain, but it's the first time you guys have heard it, at least from me, so I understand any hesitancy. I get it.
Well, and we also have to be really careful. You know, remember what we were going through with the GDP, right? And it was all, we couldn't do anything that would perceive like we're trying to hinder their project.
Yeah, it's-
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Same kind of thing here.
Yeah,
We have to,
the term-
depending on what steps we take, we have to be very,
Yeah, the-
because it's going to end up coming before us.
The term is, Nikki knows what torturous interference.
Yeah,
is what
so
you're hearing with.
we were really struggling with that. So I just want to be cautious as to what we're saying,
Wasn't even thinking that.
you know, but, and I didn't realize he closed, but, well, why don't you talk to Jennifer and Bob some more about it? Because I'm quite sure they, again, because we're on TV, they probably, there's certain things they don't want to say, and maybe y'all talk about it a little bit more and decide how you might want to bring it back more formally.
So I'm
Questions
just,
or
I'm just
comments?
gonna tack on to that just for a minute. You know, Jennifer and I talked about this a lot
Yeah.
with ARPA funds as well.
Yep.
Because it was like, you know,
We
you
did.
know, there was a part that like, hey, I'm buying Coke, and I'm like, no, I wanna buy this.
That's exactly what I said. I
Right,
said the same
and-
thing. I said,
right,
I don't want to buy Coke, I want to buy this.
And of course, we had an active application at that
Right.
time, that got pulled on its own. And then quickly went under contract, like quickly. So it was like, are you kidding me? Now, again, I mean, cost is gonna be an issue, but in my mind, I don't disagree that whatever we put there, it's my, you know, it's my biggest thing. I mean, is whatever we do there, we're dead. I mean, we're not gonna be liked. They have property rights, there's something gonna be there, and we have to let something be there unless we own it. You know, we bought Gateway originally, you know, 20 years ago, and we bought Baptist Church property 20 years ago, all to control what happens.
Your
And
destiny.
now we're gonna have the Gateway, and of course, we have a parking lot. And, you know, I see the same thing, wouldn't necessarily be like, you know, no, all due respect, I wouldn't have a market there. I'd do some kind of public-private, you know, so, but we control it. We control the mass, we control the, you know, we control it, we make some parking. But either way, I mean, right now, I don't know what the smartest strategy is. I count on them to bolster that from behind, which sounds like a lot of us have, you know, thought about that. But again, it's all strategy, because now you've got a buyer on the table and potentially wants to do something with it, so. I don't know what the best strategy beyond that is.
Well, I think you've heard at least 3 of us say that we're interested in something, an idea, or at least having something in our back pocket. If some, you know,
I don't even know if we can afford it.
exactly,
You know what?
but
The community may say, are you kidding me?
but and I'm not trying to say that we should do it. That's not what I'm trying to say, have a conversation.
I'll get together with Jennifer.
You guys have a conversation as to, if we could do it, it would be, should be like this. If we could find the money, this is what, legally, we can't do anything, you know, whatever, just have the conversation. And you'll let us know, or individually, or whatever, and I'm not saying let's even make a big thing out of it.
I'll get with Jennifer for direction, and we'll go from there.
Does that make sense to you, what I'm saying?
It does, and I have many, many thoughts, but I wanted to hear what the 5 of you,
Yeah.
what your thoughts are, and then,
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to, we're not trying to put any of you on the spot, because it's being brought up in a certain way. It doesn't mean we agree with your strategy either.
Right, oh,
But it's really about the property.
right.
That's what it's about.
It's at the heart.
Sounds like
and
we've all had the
center
same,
of
We
the
have, I
Simple
think.
thought.
I think we have, but, you
But-
know,
Yeah, I mean,
I see it as an almost impossibility, but I
Right.
certainly don't want to make that assumption.
You know, another option too is, you know, you could have a development agreement on this too with certain, I think, let me talk with Jennifer. I have some thoughts, Jennifer has some thoughts, and so.
and that might be a very good strategy.
Sure.
Because, you know, it's always been the difficulty, because you buy, you know, land, it's very, very, very high. So you buy in the heart of Dunedin, and then you, from the developer, they want to put as much on it to get out that land price.
I want to maximize.
Right. And so, yes, if there is a way to control our destiny on that piece, we tried it a long time ago. Remember, Bob? A long time ago, it came up, at least if we'd buy the parking part. And no, somehow that did not happen. I was for that, but, you know, it's shoulda, woulda, coulda. whatever, but I'm just saying, there is a lot of truth to controlling your destiny.
I think what I'm hearing, from Commissioner Gao and all, of course, is a lot of sensitivity with this property, game
A lot
changer
of
for what happens out there.
Even if we
Open
could-
space is important.
Even if we could expand our right-of-way. It would cost us, I understand that. Maybe it's not buy the whole damn thing, maybe it's expand our right-of-way.
I think there's a lot of wrinkles there, expanded.
And it might be, but no, I'm
No, no,
saying we
no.
would have to pay for it. I'm
Yeah,
just saying pushing everything back.
I think I just need to have more
Yeah.
dialogue with Jennifer, I'll be
Yeah,
honest.
and we don't have time to sort of flesh out any of this.
I do have different thoughts.
Okay.
But, I'm certainly hearing the sensitivity, green space, agree, game changer, what occurs out there, but,
I
and
think we're all worried about it.
we got a bus stop,
And I know you guys
there-
are.
There's a lot of stuff, so, but let me
Okay.
get with Jennifer, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I did have one other question. So what would be the parking requirement for the Rock House?
1 per 400,
My understanding is they're parked on-site
yeah.
to what they're proposing.
They meet the
Yeah, how
parking.
much spaces would that be?
I don't know that. I know it's 1 per 400. I can't remember. I know they met all the parking requirements, but.
But I mean, do you know what square footage they were talking about?
I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. The George Kinney, I would
If you
know.
could let us know that.
Yeah, I can say.
We will.
But that's gonna, the square footage is also gonna be, it's,
Yeah, it was up on the Highland side.
Okay.
how many parking spaces you need, you've got that ratio.
Yeah.
And it's to their benefit to have, some
Yeah,
accessible parking.
it's 1 per 400. There is some credit for a bike rack or if you're near a PSTA bus stop, things of that nature. I know they met all the requirements, but let me send an email to you and to the city manager on that.
That's all I got.
Okay?
John?
I think we covered it.
Okay. Landscape plan, I know you're working on it.
Yes. I want to get a
But
time.
we were off camera, we were chatting about it, and I just want to bring back up, just remind the light poles, Duke's light poles that cannot support the Wi-Fi stuff that we might need, the hanger of flower baskets.
I know that.
And all of those things, and I know that I thought we were going to really go after Duke
We
on
did.
getting better light poles.
Well, I know a letter, Paul was part of that, to Jorge, myself.
Sure that we should, there's a strong side letter going out. and
There you go.
It's probably best to let
Okay.
that be, and
So,
maybe it'd be appropriate to, let the commission, I don't know, but I
Well-
don't know, we shouldn't be talking about it up here.
No,
Part
we're
of
sending out a
negotiation.
side letter regarding.
okay, but anyway, when we're doing this sidewalk, the new sidewalks or the new whatever pavers and all of that, like Greg said, if it can be coordinated with these new light poles, if we could get them, if we can get some watering elements, Wi-Fi, a spot for a Wi-Fi node, doesn't have to provide the Wi-Fi node, but, these new things. And more secure, they're not plastic wrapped, basically. We need better light poles.
You'd want, of course,
So-
they wouldn't match for a while. You'd have to start replacing them all throughout the city. It'd have to be like a,
As long as they're black, I don't think anybody cares.
no, they're aggregate, the concrete aggregate is where they go now, but,
Well, whatever.
okay.
I can't solve it all. I'm just saying, we need new light poles. That's the point. Okay, we gotta go because we'll be coming back at 6, and so we will adjourn.
Thank you for watching this City of Dunedin government meeting. If you'd like to review any part of this meeting or watch any previous government meeting coverage, you can watch these meetings online anytime through the city's website, dunedingov.com. Stay connected with everything Dunedin. Follow the city on this channel and on the city's Facebook page, through Twitter, and on the city's YouTube channel. Thanks again for watching this Dunedin television production.